this is a project that came out last week, 2 weeks ago. It's very recent, but it's something that the Globe's been working on for an entire year. It's the Globe's sort of Freedom of Information project, and what it does is it serves 3 functions, and this is what it does. The first is what I worked on, which is the repository, which we'll get into a little bit. It's sort of like a one-stop shop for everything freedom of information in Canada. It's really different, like across the provinces, across each jurisdiction, across municipalities, freedom of information laws are so different. The deadlines are different, the fees are different, how you file for information is different, how you appeal that information is different. And if you are someone who's, say, maybe sitting like in Toronto and wants to do a story in another part of the country, it's very hard for you to figure that out. So what we did is we created sort of a one-stop shop for you to like figure this out, like help you navigate the system that's already so confusing. And what we've done is we've created a database of more than 300,000 requests. There's something called completed requests. What those are is like when you file, it's basically every freedom of information request filed to a department. And they're supposed to put them out and make them public, but obviously not all departments do that. So what we did is we FOIA'd all government departments and asked them to give us every request that has been asked to that department with the summary text to kind of see like what kind of requests are being asked. And once we got all that back, we cleaned it, we processed it, and that's what actually took the entire year, was cleaning this data and made sort of like a searchable database. So now you can go into this place and say, hey, I want to know what people are searching about in BC. So you can like specifically say BC police and then look for a keyword like shoes or something. Maybe we can we can figure it out. We can do a little test run. So that's one part of the project. The second part is to be like a detailed guide and a how-to and help you like navigate the system. And one of the things I built for this part of it was the letter generator. So sometimes people don't know how to file, like what are the words to use when you want to file a request, or what is the text to use. So we've created sort of like a template. I don't want to say ChatGPT, but it is kind of like intuitive. Like you put in information and it like changes the template based on it, and then you can just like copy that to clipboard. And then it also tells you how to file it, because like I said, each jurisdiction has like a different method. But we help you like craft that text. And the last is Globe's reporting. Like we just report on freedom of information. And yeah, so these are the 3 bits. And yeah, this is me basically. My baby is the database, it's the search function. We filed, I think, more than 500 requests to 600 institutions across the country. And what we got back was like reels and reels of information, because they did send some places like Alberta completely refused to participate. And we have a little bit about that as well. But what they sent us back was just information that was so different. Like one department will send you like an Excel sheet of everything you need to know. One department will send you a PDF. Some of them have redactions. There's personal requests in there, so they've redacted that. Some haven't redacted the personal information. So everything was so different that it really felt like doing 600 individual data projects, because each one of them had to be clean. Because we did like host all of it in the end in a database, and to do that you have to like normalize everything and then put it in you know, like it's all up in Postgres. So we had to like, we knew what our end database schema looks like, but we had to get all the information from the individual files into that. And that's exactly what took a year. Most of it was like just OCRing stuff, because these people, sometimes what they'll do is they'll take pictures of the I'll show you, I have a bunch of like, yeah. So you see the first one there, I think this is like Ontario Ministry of Transportation. What they did was, it's a scan of a document, and they put another piece of paper over what they have to redact. So luckily, this sheet right now is like great, but if you like, I mean, if I go to that document down, like maybe in the 700 page or something, one of these sheets wasn't in the correct, like it wasn't straight. It got tilted in the scan. So it covered half of the second column as well. So that was like a completely unusable piece of information. So for example, for stuff like that, I had to manually like type in stuff. Like there was no way to recreate it. I tried OCRing it. I tried using all the tools possible. We used Tabula a lot, which is a great like open source tool to convert PDFs. We used Acrobat. They have their own, like Adobe has its own inbuilt OCR. There's something called Abby Fine Reader, which is like a really, really good one. I think it's better than Adobe. Yeah. And then, of course, then there's just manuals. Sometimes you just have to do it because OCR, especially for like really like grainy stuff like this, doesn't really do a good job. So like the zeros come as O's, or the O's come as zeros, the E's come as threes. So we had to like really go into the nitty gritty of it, and it wasn't, I'm telling you guys, it wasn't a good time. So that was one of the kinds. The other kinds are they'll send us Excel sheets because we did request it in our request test, like please send us machine readable format and stuff like that. So they'll very happily say like, look, we did send you a machine readable format, and it's all like Excel sheets. And this is I think Saskatchewan. They were like one of repeat offenders with like just couldn't work with the data. What they did was this specific file here. They sent us reams like. I don't know how to explain this, but this is just one page. Then the page after this is actually a continuation of the columns. So like page 1 is just this. Page 2 is like you're supposed to put it next to it and then read the columns. So it was just hell, basically. Over here, this is a fun one. They gave us this information thinking that, oh yeah, we did our job, A+. But then if you look closely, all the summary text is getting cut off. And this is a PDF, so we can't even click into it to like expand it. All they needed to do was export it in Excel, but they just decided to export it as PDF, and all those summary text just got cut off into the next column. And again, so this was totally unusable. At least that I could like sit and do some manual work. Here I couldn't even finish the sentence, so what's the point? But then, I mean, these are like the bad actors, but then there were like departments that sent beautiful sheets, like very well documented, each row, everything is perfect, all the texts are like bullet points, just, so good. But like this is really like a small fraction of the kind of diversity in the data that we got and the heavy cleaning that we had to do. And also we were sort of having to keep going back to the data. So I'd cleaned maybe say 300 files. And then we realized, oh, this other department has sent us this new information. Did the other departments also send it, but in a different column or in a different name? So then I had to go back to the 300 files to like look through it and stuff like that. So again, it was not standardized. It was so different, but I was trying to put everything together and make it all into one database. But at the end of the day, hours and hours of work, we managed to do it, and we were able to create a searchable database that, I'll go through, but this is just like a screenshot of it, a searchable database. You can like go through departments, jurisdictions, just to like see where and what is being filed. But not only were we able to do the database, but we also have like these really in-depth guides, and we take you through the whole process. How to file a request, what do you do after you file the request, and like navigate that process. And then if you don't get back what you want, how do you file an appeal, and then the process to follow that. Then we also have these extra stuff, letter generators, we have tracking sheets for you, and then the sample requests are also a fun little thing that we'll click into in a bit. And apart from the website, we also did sort of like an audit of everything we got back that we were able to analyze, and that's Yang's baby. We were able to sort of like do average time it takes for each department to send back information. We were able to do it in provincial level, but we were also able to do it ministerially. And there's something called disposition that we call it. It's basically like how much of the information was released. Was the entire information they asked for released? That's called a full disclosure. Or was information partly released because it was redacted, or was information not released at all? So we were able to do some really like in-depth per ministry level analysis as well as an overall. But yeah, I just wanted a brief intro before we like jump into this guy. So this is our website. It's just secretcanada.com. That's the name of the project. And when you land, it just, I'm just taking you through the website. This is leads you to our reporting. It leads you to the Globe website, where you can see all the articles. And yeah, this is my story, which is really great, because we found out that 80% of all the like requests come from IRCC, which is the immigration. And a lot of us here, I've noticed, are immigrants. And it's really like, what happens is, well, you should read it, it's fascinating, but we found out that most of those are just people finding out about the immigration process. So they're just like FOIAing information about their own applications, and that like takes up mostly like 80% of the entire application system in the whole country. Is just like people trying to figure out how far along the process is their application. And obviously when they built that law, because they had no idea that was how it was going to be used. We have globe reporting. This is our guides. It'll take you to our guides. You can learn how to file your first Freedom of Information. We've got videos. We've got like a step-by-step. Here's what to do, what to do next, how to follow through on that. And then after you file it, we'll like teach you how to navigate the process, links. Again, it's like super in-depth. It's just, it's just exactly telling you what to do, what not to do. And then how to file appeals per jurisdiction. It'll take you to like, this is where you want to file your appeal. This is where you should do it. And links and resources. Opa. And then this is just sort of like an overview, sort of like our main jurisdictions guideline. It's basically just a huge file. And in the beginning, we have it broken down by province. So if you wanted to jump, because it's all just one page, but if you wanted to jump through province, it lets you do that. Like, I want to file in New Brunswick. So this is what I should do. This is where I can go to file the request. This is what the average fees are. This is, the time frame, the laws, because like I said, each jurisdiction has a separate legislation. So there's like more reading for you to do there. Here. And then in our other resources, this is letter generator, and we have like the type of request to file for. I generally like to use, well, mostly I do databases, but we have like these most common. I think there are 10 in here, most common, and based on what you click, the template changes at the bottom. You have to put in information about who you're sending it to. That is little digging that you have to do yourself, but if you scroll on top, we have links to where you can get that information. And then we have prompts to tell you what to write, what to fill. And then once you fill it out, put in your address here, and then just copy it to clipboard. So then you can either print it, or maybe, if you want to do a handwritten, that's up to you. But yeah, we have all these like different kind of reports and formats, type of generators. Now we have this tracking sheet that's actually based off of Tom Cardoso's tracking sheet, and you can just make a copy of this in your own drive, and it tells you, gives you details of how to fill out this form. Also, if you're confused, you can just hover over the column names, and it'll tell you what each is, what to do, how to fill it out. But we also at the bottom we have one for appeals, which is basically almost the same thing. But again, if you're confused, you can just hover over the column names. We do have formulas in there that automatically fill out, so that you don't have to worry about it and things like that. But yeah, this I think is a really good resource to staying organized, especially in our case, we file 500 requests. This filled up really, really fast. So to keep track of stuff like that, this is a good tool. And then the example letters we have from our investigative reporters, or reporters at the Globe who've been filing stuff. We have per story, and they're sort of little tidbits of how they've navigated the system. So say, for example, here Colin Freeze, he did a story, and there's a little intro about the story, what he did. But then there's also sample requests that he sent out for his story. So if you keep scrolling down, you have more stories and more sample requests. You can also obviously go to the story itself. But my personal favorite is a little personal tidbits that the reporter has given. It's sort of a little this is why I filed, or this is the caveats, or basically their thought process. They knew what the story was going to be, and what they decided to do and how they decided to file for stuff. And we will keep updating this page as we go. That was the resources section. This is just, this is sort of we call these FOI news, which is basically just tiny blogs that we've done, or we've interviewed people. So it's just if you want to know more stories. Mostly the reportage is done by Robin Doolittle and Tom Cardoso. So that section is kind of just them, little tips and techniques, or this is how much money I spent on one request, or I spent $600 on this. And then finally at the bottom here, before we get into the database, is a way to contact our team. It's just a contact form. If you feel like you notice something in the database that you feel is wrong or want want it to be taken down, or if you just want to like get in touch with us to like help out or do anything like that, this is a great place to reach us. Another is all our social media. We have an Instagram page. That's really fun because we're trying to make it like memey. Memes. So follow that for like a few funnies, for the funnies. And then, yeah, let's just jump into the database. Is this, scroll. Okay, there we go. So when you jump into the database, this is what you're going to see. It'll take you to there's a list of all the public institutions we track. It's divided by category over here, but then it's also divided by jurisdiction and ministry. So if you know that you want to look for something, you can Control F it. But if you were to say like Health Canada, it takes you to these institution pages. So we have like an individual page for every institution that we track, and we have notes on like how we collected that data, how we cleaned that data, more information about where to get that information, more information about how to file there, but then also how many requests are in our database. So if you click through there, it'll take you to an already filtered view of our search page. So this is everything that we have from Health Canada. We have the summary text here. This is how much it was, like was it disclosed in part or disclosed in full? This bit here is really interesting. So if I just go back to if I refresh. So we have around these many total requests in the database. You can look for, let's say, pigs, I don't know. So now there are 47 requests in the database that like pigs, hog farming is a big thing. So you can, this is great, this is a great example, because now you see how we have like two separate buttons here. One is called file a piggyback request, and one is get documents. So in the get documents section, we can always click more and read more, but when you click get documents, an individual modal opens up, and it tells you how to get the documents, because we know that documents are out there. But now it tells you like, okay, if you are someone who's looking for this specific information, how to get it. And in this case, it says the public institution might put up this information, because not all, BC does, but like Manitoba doesn't. But even though they release completed requests, they don't put out what they call responsive documents, which basically means the answers to your questions that you're asking for. So let's see, who is this? Oh, this is BC, so they will have it. But this will take you to the BC site. So what I would suggest is you look for it through request number. So I'm going to copy that, paste it in the search and the BC site. We basically know that this institution does not put out completed requests, so you have to file a piggyback. And basically what a piggyback is like the word suggests, you're piggybacking all this already existing request. We already have that text nicely written down for you. So if you want, you can just put in your information here, copy to clipboard, and there's a little information about how to file this piggyback, and all you have to do is just follow the instructions to get this information. So that's a neat little trick. You can sort by province, jurisdiction as we call them. You can sort by category. We have around maybe 6 here. This public institutions just list the top 10, but you can always, if you know what you're looking for, you can always search. I want to look for OPP, and stuff like that. But do you guys want to try some fun like requests? Anybody want to see maybe their name? Or, I don't know, like, you can also do phrase searches. So if I want to do forest fires, so I put it in quotes and I type forest fires, so then I get all the requests that were filed about forest fires. You can get the documents. I can like click on that link, it'll take me back to the institution page, so I can do a little more reading about that. Yeah, so that's basically it, the 3 things. Thanks.